My daughter, Sophia, always had a knack for twisting words and exaggerating, especially when her academic results were poor. I'd scold her a few times, and she'd deliberately run to my colleagues, claiming I suffered from bipolar disorder, beating and scolding her whenever I had an episode. Because of her, my colleagues ostracized me. When friends brought their children over, I'd just say, "Let the kids play together, they're the same age, they must have a lot to talk about." But Sophia would burst into tears, run out, and accuse me to the head of the Women's Association, claiming I wanted to sell her into child marriage to make money. As a result, the Women's Association criticized and investigated me, and I was fired from my company. Later, I discovered Sophia was involved in gambling. I wanted to persuade her to quit, but she pushed me from a high-rise building. Afterward, she wept in an interview, saying her mother suffered from depression and that we had a disagreement, so I jumped to my death myself. I opened my eyes and found myself back on the day she failed her exam. "Grandma, I didn't mean to do poorly on the test. Mom, please don't hit me or scold me anymore, okay?" Sophia knelt on the ground, snot and tears streaming down her face. It was quitting time and I was clocking out, swiping my fingerprint. Behind me, a line of colleagues waited. Sophia suddenly rushed forward, knelt, and sobbed hysterically, leaving everyone stunned and speechless. In my previous life, my reaction had been 100 times more intense than theirs. I considered myself not a strict mother. I never demanded perfect scores in every subject, just that she graduate smoothly. But she failed every subject. Her homeroom teacher had repeatedly complained about her inattentiveness in class. I only had the heart to scold her a few times. As a result, she ran straight to my company's entrance, claiming I suffered from late-stage bipolar disorder, constantly beating her. Then she would turn around and accuse me to the Women's Association, saying I wanted to sell her into child marriage. I was ostracized by colleagues, criticized and investigated by the Women's Association. Things became serious. My reputation was ruined. Eventually, the company fired me. Yet, the daughter who caused all these consequences showed no remorse whatsoever. It wasn't until she found out I lost my job and had no income that she began to panic. She was so addicted to gambling that she mortgaged the house papers for high-interest loans. When I found out, she tricked me to a high place and pushed me down. Afterward, she cried during an interview, claiming her mother was depressed and jumped to her death just because of an argument with her. She donated all my organs without hesitation, then leveraged her image as a strong but pitiful figure to open a live stream and earn countless amounts of money. Even after my death, I had to become a tool for her to gain interaction. Sometimes, she would even bring me up as a topic on her live stream to attract fans. Thinking of my tragic previous life, I wished I could strangle this ungrateful wretch. I should have directly suffocated her when she was still an embryo. But seeing the unreadable expressions of my colleagues, I tried to hold back. Everyone was looking at Sophia. She immediately changed her posture, from kneeling and crying to kowtowing, her head hitting the ground with dull thuds. "Mom, I had a fever before the exam. My eyes just wouldn't stay open while I was taking it. Mom, can you please not punish me anymore? Don't make me starve for 3 days like last time. Tomorrow I still have an 800-meter run test." My colleagues' gazes pierced me, as if I were scum. Besides surprise, there was also indignation. Everyone stood up to criticize me. I couldn't blame them. After all, who could imagine a daughter fabricating such cruel accusations against her own mother? In this situation, only magic could fight magic. I picked up my phone, drafted a message in the company's small group chat, then fiercely pinched my thigh and knelt on the ground myself. Tears streamed down my face. "Sophia, I can't believe you would do this just to avoid studying. You're talking nonsense again. I won't force you to finish high school anymore. If you want to spend the night at an internet cafe playing games or flirt with male classmates in class, I won't say anything. Isn't it just 100 points for 7 subjects? I'm not scolding you. Just go online and sell this house so you'll have money for overseas studies later." Ignoring Sophia's bewildered look, I hugged her tightly, burying her head into my chest. "Good girl, I'm sorry. You're so stressed with studying you're almost depressed. From now on, you can do whatever you want. Mom won't say a word." Sophia was hugged so tightly she almost suffocated before finally struggling free. Hearing my words, she jumped with joy. "Really?" I immediately borrowed paper and a pen from the reception desk and wrote a commitment letter, ensuring that from now on, I would no longer control her. Sophia happily took it and put it in her pocket. Then she held out her hand quite naturally. "Mom, give me 500. Tonight there's a guild battle. I need to get a cool skin to dominate everyone." I searched my pockets but only had a little over 100 in cash. "Not enough money. I'll give it to you next month when I get paid, okay?" Sophia snatched the remaining money with disdain. "Mom, why are you so poor, so useless? Little Fatty's mom gives him thousands of pocket money every time. You don't even have 500. I'm so unlucky to have a mother like you." "Oh right, Mom doesn't have money, can't you just borrow from your colleagues?" With that, Sophia smiled and walked towards the colleagues who had just defended her. "Uncles and aunties, can I borrow 500? Mom will pay you back when she gets her salary." But as she took a step forward, each colleague took a step back, their faces filled with terror as if they had seen a ghost. I silently messaged the company group. "My daughter Sophia has severe bipolar disorder with a tendency to harm others. Please keep a safe distance and do not lend her money." Unable to borrow money, Sophia angrily kicked over the trash can in the corner, cursing me as she walked away. I buried my face in my hands, weeping in anguish. Colleagues who had previously criticized me now patted my shoulder one by one, comforting me. "I can't believe she has such severe bipolar disorder. It's best to take her to the hospital soon. If my child were like that, I'd go crazy. You can't just not educate her. I think she's just using her illness as an excuse to control you, sis." I sighed. All my life, I've wished for nothing else but her good health. My colleagues, seeing this, didn't feel it appropriate to say more. Somehow, this news reached my boss. He gave me 3 days leave. Unlike my previous life, where colleagues avoided and alienated me, this time they encouraged me to take care of my family matters with peace of mind and then return to work. I spoke apologetically, but handed my tasks over to my colleagues. At home, Sophia secretly took my phone and messaged her homeroom teacher, requesting sick leave. I pretended not to know anything. She spent all day buried in internet cafes, only coming home for lunch and dinner. Previously, concerned for her health, I tried to cook delicious and nutritious meals. Now I just ordered takeout. When I asked her what she wanted to eat, she immediately named several greasy, high-calorie dishes. Sure. Fried potatoes and hamburgers for breakfast, fried chicken for lunch, pizza for dinner. Whatever's convenient. I also stopped cleaning the house 3 times a day like before. Trash piled up outside her room. If she didn't take it out, I left it. One morning, she came home after playing games and accidentally stepped on the mountain of trash. Angrily, she ran to my room and pounded on the door. "Mom, why are you so lazy lately? No trash cleaning, no cooking. What good are you? I don't want to eat snacks anymore. I'm constipated from eating too much. Tonight I want a proper meal." Looking at her exasperated face, I yawned and rubbed my eyes. "What's the big deal? Just let it pile up and take it out all at once. Didn't you always complain before that I messed up your things when I cleaned your room? And you said my cooking was bland. Now I'm not bothering, you can do whatever you want. Or have you gotten so used to being controlled that you can't adapt to this freedom? Do you want to go back to how things were before?" Sophia immediately shook her head frantically. When she went out the door, she carried the trash out herself. Before leaving, she snapped, "Zai oyu zai, if you keep being this lazy, don't expect me to clean up your corpse if you die in your room." That evening, there was rice and soup on the table, but it was all takeout, tasting very ordinary. Sophia only ate a few quick bites before getting up and leaving. I hadn't taken out the trash for a long time, so today I finally carried out a bag. The neighboring elderly people, pretending to be discreet, still secretly watched me, pointing and gossiping. "Sophia is such a good child. It's a pity she has a mother like that. I heard she has bipolar disorder and was fired from her company. Now she just sleeps at home all day. The most pitiful thing is her daughter, so young, already having to go out and work part-time to earn money. It's truly sad." Hearing this, I immediately walked up to them, feigning surprise. "What do you mean, everyone? Has Sophia not been going to school these past few days?" The others awkwardly looked at the sky and ground, no one daring to face me. I continued. "That day, Sophia suddenly ran to my company, crying hysterically. I already felt something was wrong. Her studies were muddled and she had strange memories in her head, failing exams, being beaten and scolded by me, being punished by not eating. The doctor said it was severe paranoia, so I took a few days off to be with her. I also self-reflected. Perhaps I pushed her too hard before. Now, to avoid triggering her, I can only indulge her. If she wants to eat snacks, let her eat. I just hope everyone doesn't believe anything she says. After speaking, I left tearfully. Behind me, an old woman hastily made a call. "Hello? Hurry home, dear. Don't report this to the Women's Association anymore. This is all a misunderstanding." The corner of my mouth curved slightly. Isn't it just adding fuel to the fire? My daughter can do it, so can I only. Adults' words obviously carry more weight than children's. As expected, the labels of bipolar disorder and professional liar were officially attached to Sophia in the eyes of my colleagues and neighbors. The next day, I proactively called Sophia's homeroom teacher to inquire about her situation at school. The teacher said, surprised, "What? Sophia has been on sick leave for over half a month, saying she had the flu. Didn't you message me about it?" I confirmed I had never sent any such message. After cross-checking, the teacher immediately realized something was wrong. Eventually, they found Sophia in an internet cafe near the school and brought her back. I received the news and rushed over. Just as I was about to knock on the teacher's office door, Sophia's cries rang out from inside. "Sir, it's so suffocating at home, I want to run away. My mom has obsessive-compulsive disorder. She forces me to get perfect scores in all subjects. If I'm even 1 point short, I'm punished by not eating. Last time, after the exam, I couldn't eat for 3 straight days. I was so hungry I had to go outside and pick wild vegetables to eat. I know Mom does this for my own good, but the more she does, the more I'm afraid of studying. The internet cafe is the only place that makes me happy. If you don't believe me, you can ask Mom's colleagues and the neighbors around. They all know about this. But I can't bear to let Mom go to jail, so I begged them to keep it a secret. Sir, please don't call the police, I'm fine." The homeroom teacher said seriously, "No, this is domestic abuse. We are obliged to report it to higher authorities." I pushed the door open, my face still bearing the pale makeup I had meticulously applied for half an hour. The moment Sophia saw me, I immediately swung my hand and slapped her. She covered her face, hiding behind the homeroom teacher, crying, "See, my mom really has mental problems." I ignored her. In front of the teachers, I called my colleagues and the building security guard one by one. "Hello, sorry to trouble you. Sophia has been found. Didn't she have an episode at the company last time? Now it's relapsed at school. Please tell the neighborhood committee not to call the police. Sophia is at school. The homeroom teacher has brought her back." After hanging up, I smiled and apologized to the teacher. "I'm so sorry, teacher. I was careless. Sophia stole my phone to request sick leave. When I received your call, I thought she had run away, so I hastily contacted my colleagues and neighbors to search for her. Just now, everyone was even planning to call the police. I wonder if Sophia told you that I abused her. If so, she already ran to my company and neighborhood and said the exact same thing once before. But when everyone came to confront me, they realized the truth wasn't like that. I had a bad feeling, which is why I contacted you to ask about Sophia's situation. Only now do I realize that she makes up stories everywhere just to skip school." Sophia's eyes went wide with anger. "Teacher, don't listen to her nonsense. She's lying to you. This is brainwashing." I reached out and pinched her plump chin. From eating fast food for half a month, she had gained 5 kilograms. "Since when have you been eating well at home, gaining 10 pounds in half a month? Looking at you, do you look like you've been starved for 3 days, Sophia? Oh, don't force me to hit you. I don't care if you're traumatized or not. If this continues, you'll annoy me to death first." Under the homeroom teacher's lead, the other teachers also spoke up, lecturing Sophia. Finally, they told me to take her home for re-education. Sophia's eyes were red with anger, her whole body trembling. I knew she was about to have another outburst, so I feigned exhaustion. Sure enough, she immediately rushed to the homeroom teacher, pointed at his bald head, and angrily cursed, "Bald old man, you're just like my mom. All you know is lecturing people. How pathetic. Your classes are so boring and your voice is unpleasant. Why should I listen?" Whenever Sophia got agitated, her mouth became unrestrained, spewing out such nasty words that made people want to strangle her on the spot. This kind of frenzied state, if not bipolar disorder, then what? The homeroom teacher, who was almost retired and had never encountered such a situation, almost fainted from anger, hastily taking out sedatives to drink. I quickly apologized, then dragged Sophia out. Going down the stairs, Sophia suddenly said she needed to use the restroom and disappeared shortly after. I waited in the hallway for a while, my legs gradually going numb. Just then, a strong push came from behind. "Zaya, you Zai, go to hell?" I had been prepared. Earlier, when my legs felt numb, I had placed my hand on the railing, so even with the strong push, I didn't fall. Instead, Sophia twisted her ankle and let out a pained shriek, like a pig being slaughtered. The loud noise attracted the homeroom teacher and many others. Sophia looked at me with hateful eyes and screamed loudly, "Everyone, come quickly. My mom just tried to kill me." Of course, the homeroom teacher and others didn't believe her, but this part of the hallway happened to be a blind spot for the surveillance camera. I can testify Sophia isn't lying. She really was pushed down. A luxuriously dressed woman appeared. My daughter immediately threw herself into her arms, affectionately calling, "Mom, Mom, you're finally here. You don't know, ever since Dad was sent to work in Africa, this woman has been beating and scolding me every day and even wants to kill me." Wah, wah, wah. Indeed, people say where there's a stepmother, there's a stepfather. My dad isn't home, and my stepmother only abuses me. The woman saw everyone's scrutinizing gaze and introduced herself. "I am Sophia's biological mother, Lin Ryuo." According to her, I was the third party who intruded into her marriage with Oh Shen, and Sophia was their mutual daughter. And I, the wicked stepmother, took advantage of Oh Shen working abroad to torment his stepdaughter, forbidding the mother and daughter from reuniting. Hearing this, I couldn't help but laugh. I wasn't even bothered to ask where this unknown woman came from. This fresh plot was quite interesting. Lin Ryuo and my daughter hugged each other intimately, both looking at me with eyes full of hatred. The homeroom teacher and those around them were bewildered. "Ms. Zai, are you Sophia O's stepmother?" I didn't deny it. After all, my daughter was making a scene, demanding a different mother. Now she even found her biological mother. I should just go along with it, so I sighed. These days, being a stepmother is truly not easy. If you discipline strictly, you're called cruel and abusive. If you don't care, they say you're not the biological mother, so you don't care. No matter what you do, you become the bad guy. I looked directly at Lin Ryuo. "Years ago, for money, you abandoned your poor husband and flew abroad to study, leaving your daughter behind. Now that the village has struck gold, why are you suddenly rushing back to claim your child? Speaking of which, my house and phone number haven't changed all this time. If you truly loved your child, you had many opportunities to come see her, or like today, come directly to school to pick her up. It wouldn't have been difficult. All right then, now that you two are reunited, Sophia is in your care from now on. I will no longer be involved. After all, if I stayed, I'd just be pushed down the stairs again and almost die, and then be framed by you for attempted murder." I suspected Lin Ryu was someone Sophia hired to pretend to be her biological mother. Her identity was surely fake. So, I went with the flow, guiding the story in a direction favorable to myself. After speaking, I took a few steps forward and picked up my phone, which was placed on the wall. The screen displayed a video of my daughter approaching me on her own, then secretly reaching out to push me. I looked directly at this fake biological mother. Recently, Sophia has been full of tricks. I've been prepared. When she used the excuse to go to the restroom, I set up my phone to record. Sure enough, it came in handy right when needed. I originally wanted to warn you not to spoil her too much, but there's a saying, if the superior is not upright, the subordinates will be disorderly. I guess I don't need to remind you. With that, I nodded to the teacher and left, leaving the mother and daughter surrounded by contemptuous gazes. Just thinking about not having to attend parent-teacher meetings anymore, I almost burst into joyous laughter. Other people attend parent-teacher meetings to enjoy them, but for me, each time was like being put on trial. Every time, the homeroom teacher would talk so much I couldn't lift my head. Now that someone else was taking over, of course, I wouldn't spoil this plan. From now on, Lin Ryu was Sophia O's biological mother, and I, the wicked stepmother, would disappear from their lives. The next day after work, I indeed saw my mother-in-law, who should have been in the countryside, hugging my daughter and crying right outside the apartment complex. "My dear granddaughter, you're so pitiful. That cursed woman actually dared to push you at school?" Beside her, Lin Ryu was also explaining her identity to everyone. "I am Sophia's biological mother. After I got pregnant, I went abroad to study. I never expected that woman to intrude and steal my husband. At a party back then, she climbed into my husband's bed and threatened that if he didn't divorce me, she would report him to the police for rape, making Sophia the child of a criminal. We had no choice but to go through with the divorce. Afterward, my husband felt guilty towards me. After marrying that woman, he didn't want to come home anymore and decisively asked the company to transfer him to work abroad. But I never expected that as soon as he left, that woman forbade me from seeing Sophia. What angered me most was how she abused my child and fabricated stories throughout the company, neighborhood, and school. Now my daughter and I have a bad reputation. My mother-in-law grabbed a stick and rushed towards me. "You vicious, heartless woman, don't think that just because this old woman is in the countryside, you can freely torment Sophia. Lin Ryu has told me everything. Get out." I immediately called my son, husband, to come home on leave. My daughter, hiding in Lin Ryu's arms, trembled. From the moment she saw me, she was so scared she didn't dare to look up. Lin Ryu pulled up her sleeve, gasped sharply, and tears rolled down her cheeks. Under the sleeve, on Sophia's arm, were horrifying wounds. "You beast!" My mother-in-law raised her hand and pointed directly at my face, cursing loudly. "There's evidence of domestic abuse?" Everyone's expressions immediately changed. Some even pulled out their phones, intending to call the police. They say 3 women can make a play. These 3 performed as if it were real. My daughter knelt on the ground, bowed her head, and kowtowed forcefully. Then she stood up and addressed the crowd. "Let bygones be bygones. After all, she raised me for over 10 years. Her magnanimous gesture made everyone even more sympathetic. "Good child, you've suffered so much. Why are you so understanding? I wish my son were half as good as you. Don't be afraid. If anyone bullies you from now on, we'll help you get rid of them." There were many busybodies in the neighborhood who loved to get involved in dramatic affairs, rushing to any scene of excitement. But this also meant they were easily manipulated. I pointed to the still bleeding wounds on my daughter's arm. "Call the police. How can we let this pass? This is evidence. Her arm is still bleeding. The police can investigate. Perhaps in the wounds or under someone's fingernails, there are still traces of skin or flesh. Take it for testing, and the culprit will be found immediately." Lin Ryu unconsciously hid her hands in her pockets. I smiled coldly, took out my phone, and dialed a number. My daughter frantically rushed over, snatched my phone, and threw it away. "Zaya Yuzai, I originally wanted to save you some face because you raised me, but if you're going to play dirty, don't blame me for telling the whole truth." She pulled out a blurry photo. "This is proof." She grabbed me tight because I found her secretly spending the night with Uncle Wang, the neighbor. She forced me to keep it a secret, otherwise she would kill me to silence me. The photo was blurry, showing only 2 indistinct figures. Beside them, Sophia had written my name and Uncle Wang with a black marker. This kind of evidence wouldn't fool anyone with a brain, but it was enough to fool the elderly residents of the neighborhood. They put on their reading glasses, stared at the photo for a long time, and concluded, "It's real. The figures are exactly alike." Abuse plus infidelity was enough to completely ruin a person's reputation. Moreover, Mr. Wang was currently single and on a long business trip, unable to defend himself. My mother-in-law couldn't hold back any longer. She picked up her phone and called her son abroad. Initially, no one answered. She persisted, calling repeatedly until the other end connected. She then choked out, "Son, your mother isn't doing well. If you come back now, you might still make it to see me one last time." At this point, whatever I said was useless. I smiled coldly, turned, and walked away. Behind me, my daughter and Lin Ryu hugged each other, weeping hysterically, a truly moving scene of mother-daughter reunion. Leaving the apartment complex, I immediately called a real estate agent to put my apartment up for sale. The house deeds had long been taken by me to the company and securely kept in my personal drawer. That evening, I stayed at my best friend's house and turned on the hidden camera in my living room. On the screen, the 3 of them were gathered around a hot pot. My daughter smiled brightly. Finally got rid of that vicious woman. If Auntie Lin had married Dad back then, Dad wouldn't have been angry and gone abroad, not even coming back for Lunar New Year. Dad is coming home soon. When he does, I'll tell him to marry Auntie Lin. That useless old hag deserves to be kicked out empty-handed. Lin Ryu forced a smile. My mother-in-law looked at her, growing fonder. While Sophia was in the restroom, she whispered, "I hope you have another son to continue the O family line. Just have one and I'll give you 100,000. After the meal, Lin Ryu urged the other two to rest, and she cleaned the living room alone. But as soon as the door closed, she immediately threw the cleaning rag down, pulled out her phone, and called someone. That stupid girl and that old woman are too lazy. Do they really think I'll treat them well? No worries. Once I marry Shen, the first step will be to send those two foolish mother and daughter back to the countryside, then travel the world with him. How could I not be excited? I've liked Senior O since college, but he never noticed me. You ask why Senior O hasn't been home for many years? It must be because he despises that woman. Actually, the one who was supposed to be with him that year was me. At that time, their company held a team-building event at my friend's bar. According to the plan, I was the one who was supposed to marry Senior O. I never expected that woman to steal my opportunity. Later, Senior O went abroad for work just a few months after getting married. My family forced me into blind dates. Initially, I had no intentions, but heaven has eyes. My husband died in an accident. Then I coincidentally met my first love again. Now I'm single, Senior O is also single. We can absolutely rekindle our old flame and start a mature relationship. Moreover, we're not too old. As for that old woman, she has 100,000, but she doesn't know that I can't get pregnant. By then, I just need to pretend to be pregnant, trick her into giving me the money, and then send her away. Don't worry, just wait for the wedding wine. Those two grandmother and granddaughter are stupid and easily fooled. For now, I still have to pretend to be good to them, so they'll find a way to drive that woman out empty-handed. After Lin Ryu finished her call, she walked into the master bedroom and rummaged through the belongings. But she was surely going to be disappointed, because all important documents had been taken by me long ago. I even installed a hidden camera in the living room. I never expected that behind the unexpected incident with Shen that year was Lin Ryu's hand. After her husband died, seeing my daughter's dissatisfaction with me, she seized this opportunity to act. And my daughter, foolishly believing the instigation, thought her father didn't come home because he hated me. Under Lin Ryu's guidance, Sophia even dropped out of school midway. But she didn't know that things were not so simple. She loved her father very much. Even though he didn't come home and didn't even make a phone call during Lunar New Year, she still firmly believed that he loved her. This was all because, from a young age, I had built a perfect father figure in her eyes. In reality, Shen and I got married only because of an unplanned pregnancy. 2 months after that fateful night, I discovered I was pregnant. I asked Shen what he wanted to do. Pressured by his family to marry, he lied, saying he would take responsibility and be a good husband and father. I was an orphan, always longing for a family. Looking at the ultrasound image, I softened and agreed to marry him. But after marrying, I discovered Shen had issues with his sexuality. The first time I saw him call another man wife, my mind went completely blank. He had tricked me into marriage. I intended to sue, but at that time, to get a birth certificate for our child, a father's name was required. Shen threatened, "If you dare to expose this, the child in your womb is finished." For the sake of the baby, I was forced to reach an agreement with him. Finally, Shen voluntarily requested a long-term business trip. If there was no essential matter, he wouldn't come home. He was free to live abroad, not forced by his mother to marry. As for me, I lived like a widow, having a husband but no different from not having one. I owned the house in my name alone, and he had to provide child support until Sophia graduated from university. Over the years, I endured humiliation for my daughter. No matter how much my mother-in-law cursed me, I put up with it. But ever since Sophia started kindergarten, she began asking for her father. I had no choice but to fabricate beautiful reasons so she would always believe her father was a good person. Every year on Sophia's birthday, I would prepare 2 gifts, one from me, one from Shen. I saved all the living expenses Shen sent back, intending to tell her the truth after she finished college and give her all that money to decide what to do with it. It was a considerable sum, but now the money belonged to me, and I didn't intend to give a single cent to that ungrateful wretch. In a few days, Shen would return to the country, but the 3 people fantasizing about him were sure to be disillusioned. Just thinking about that scene, I couldn't help but eagerly look forward to it. At the entrance of the Civil Affairs Bureau, I held my divorce certificate and prepared to leave. My daughter and former mother-in-law surrounded Shen, chattering incessantly. But Shen pushed them away, walking towards me as if wanting to say something. I smiled. "Don't worry, you left the house to me. I won't say anything." My former mother-in-law heard the word house and her expression immediately changed. What for? Why leave the house to her? She didn't contribute a dime. Son, were you tricked? My daughter also grabbed her father's hand, confused. Dad, wasn't Mom the one who had an affair? The one who divorced empty-handed should be her. Why did you let her take the whole house? But Shen didn't explain anything. He hailed a taxi and left immediately. The two mother and daughter were still comforting each other. Dad must be looking for Auntie Lynn. They were first loves after all. Dad must be kind-hearted, willingly giving up the house. But we're not blind. We have to get the house back. I pointed to the administrative center next door. On the 5th floor, there's free legal consultation. You too can go ask. Does a blurry photo that shows nothing clearly, plus one testimony, suffice as evidence to accuse me of infidelity? I added. I've already contacted a buyer for the house. This afternoon, the cleaning company will come to clean. If you two don't move your belongings out before then, everything will be thrown away. My daughter pointed at me and screamed, Mom, you had an affair and were abandoned by Dad. Now you won't even acknowledge your own daughter? People around immediately turned to look at me. I waved my hand nonchalantly. Don't look at me. I'm her stepmother. This child would do anything to reunite with her biological parents. Now she's achieved her goal. The divorce condition was that the house belongs to me, but she's too greedy for money, so she fabricated a story about my infidelity, wanting me to leave empty-handed. 2 years ago, her parents divorced. Her mother went with someone else, and her father went abroad for over a decade and never came back. I raised her single-handedly. Even raising a dog for a long time develops feelings. It's just a pity that this child, no matter how much I raised her, remains ungrateful. These words were all prepared by me in advance, recited fluidly without needing to catch my breath. My daughter was speechless, unable to retort. In a confrontation, striking first is truly important. The moment I opened my mouth, I said everything at once, not giving her a chance to exaggerate and twist facts. A month later, Lin Ryu successfully married Shen. With my former mother-in-law being so strong-willed, constantly crying, threatening death, and making a fuss, Shen finally relented. When we finalized the divorce, I told Shen, from now on, you don't need to live abroad anymore. He breathed a sigh of relief, immediately requesting the company to transfer him to work domestically. This action inadvertently sent a signal to my daughter and her group. They thought it was because of Lin Ryu that Shen agreed to stay. Even Lin Ryu thought so. She paid for a house as their bridal chamber and financed the wedding herself. Shen prepared nothing, saying whatever to everything she asked. But in the eyes of a lover, the beloved is always perfect. Lin Ryu thought he was shy, indulging in her own fantasies. After marriage, Shen used the excuse of working overtime not to come home, but in reality he left work on time every day. You ask how I knew? It was from his current wife herself. I used Sophia's money to find a high-class bodyguard who was Shen's type, arranging for them to, accidentally, meet on a flight back home. One dropped something, the other helped pick it up, and destiny began. Shen was infatuated with this man because he met all of Shen's criteria for a partner, from eating habits to lifestyle, to the books he read, to his favorite idols. Everything was perfect. I can only say, $150,000 a month for this young man was truly worth it. Half a month later, the lover intentionally left a few obvious hickeys on the back of Shen's neck. Lin Ryu, who had been neglected since marriage and had to serve both her mother-in-law and stepdaughter, suddenly saw these marks and her spirit collapsed. She threw a fit. Shen angrily left. My daughter came up with the idea of catching them in the act. This plan was sent to my phone. In the hotel on the large bed, Lin Ryu clutched Shen's hand, crying, "Husband, who is he? Say something." On the other side, a naked young man also held Shen's other hand and smiled. "Honey, who is this old woman? Oh my God, she's so ugly. Sagging skin, no amount of heavy makeup can hide those age spots. Just looking at her gives me goosebumps." A middle-aged woman could never compare to a vibrant young man. Lin Ryu went mad, but my daughter was even angrier. She rushed forward, intending to scratch the young man's face. "You half-man, half-woman monster, that's my dad, what are you calling honey?" From childhood, her father had been a perfect figure in her eyes, but now her dream father was what she hated most, a homosexual. But the most heartbreaking thing wasn't that, it was that when the two sides fought, Shen protected the man, not his own biological daughter. "Wife, are you okay?" Shen hastily checked his lover's face. My former mother-in-law had just entered and immediately froze. "Oh my God, my son likes men, the O family line is finished." She collapsed to the ground, weeping. My daughter, being kind, comforted her. "Dad is just sick, we'll take him to the hospital for treatment. Isn't there Auntie Lynn? Auntie said she was pregnant the other day. I already gave her 100,000 from Grandma." My mother-in-law rejoiced, but before she could be happy for long, her own son poured cold water on her. I never touched her. At this moment, Oh Shen's lover pretended to suddenly remember something and took out his phone. "I've met this woman before. She once went to the obstetrics department with another man for infertility examinations." My mother-in-law heard this and immediately grabbed Lin Ryu's shirt, intending to expose her stomach right there to check. But Lin Ryu pushed her away, saying coldly, "You can't blame me for this. It's your son who's impotent. He never touched me." She gnashed her teeth. "I can't believe your son is such a disgusting gay man. I must have been blind to like him for so many years. Forget it. You two pack your bags and get out of my house immediately. As for the 100,000, consider it compensation for my emotional distress." My former mother-in-law suddenly had a seizure, fell to the ground, and frothed at the mouth. My daughter frantically ran after Lin Ryu, crying, "Mom, wait for me, take me with you." But Lin Ryu immediately kicked her in the stomach, completely shedding her previous facade of mother-daughter affection. "I'm not your mother. Xiaoyu Zai is your mother. Honestly, every time I see your eyes, which are exactly like that woman's, I just want to vomit." With that, Lin Ryu spat a few times at Oh Shen and left. My daughter turned back to her father, but in Oh Shen's eyes there was no sign of her. He only cared about the man, anxiously looking at the scratches on his wrist. "Are you okay? We need to go to the hospital immediately." "Honey, you're so good." The two hugged and exchanged kisses. My daughter angrily grabbed a clothes hanger nearby and rushed to hit the man's head. "Monster, give me back my dad." But Oh Shen, enraged, violently pushed her down. Her leg hit the corner of the bed, folding into a strange, unnatural position. Her agonizing scream echoed. That night, I received a call from the hospital. The hotel housekeeper had taken my former mother-in-law and daughter to the emergency room. My mother-in-law had suffered a stroke, paralyzing her entire body, with only her eyes still moving. My daughter had a severe tibia fracture. The hotel provided a small advance for medical expenses, but the subsequent treatment costs were incredibly expensive. I didn't hesitate to give Oh Shen and Lin Ryu's numbers to the hospital. My name had long been removed from the household registry, and now I was divorced. This had nothing to do with me anymore. But the hospital called both numbers and received the same answer: wrong number. It turned out that after learning he had caused his mother's stroke and his daughter's broken leg, Oh Shen had fled abroad. Of course, those were the plane tickets I had prepared beforehand. His lover conveniently gave him the tickets as a gift, telling him to travel for a couple of weeks. "Sorry, you have contacted the wrong person. We recommend you report this to the police." My daughter's voice came through the phone, crying pitifully. "Mom, I was wrong. It turns out only you truly love me. Now I'm in so much pain I'm about to die. Save me. The hospital says if we don't pay, they won't operate on me. Mom, you're so kind. You used to cook for me, wash my clothes, take me to the park, help me with my studies and exams. Mom, I know I was wrong. Save me." But I replied coldly, "You've called the wrong person. I'm just a wicked stepmother, and now I'm not even a stepmother anymore. Whoever hit you, find them to pay for your medical expenses. Don't bother me." With that, I went to the nearest store and canceled my phone number. But the medical fees couldn't just magically appear. Oh Shen heard the news but hid abroad and didn't come back. He didn't want to care for his paralyzed mother, nor did he want to raise his daughter with a broken leg. Wasn't it better to enjoy happiness with his lover abroad? As for me, I had completed my immigration procedures long ago. That night, I packed my luggage and left the country. Lin Ryu, however, couldn't escape. On paper, she was Sophia O's biological mother. Because Sophia wanted to change mothers, when Lin Ryu and Oh Shen registered their marriage, she had transferred Sophia's household registration along with hers. The police and hospital came to Lin Ryu. She said, "I have no money." Then she called a taxi and took my former mother-in-law and daughter back to the countryside. The hospital and police could do nothing. After checking her account, it was true she didn't have a single cent. But just a few days later, Lin Ryu picked up my daughter again. That day, a video appeared online showing my daughter crying and complaining, with Lin Ryu holding the camera, adding, "My biological mother sold the house and ran abroad to live a life of luxury." Please, uncles and aunties, help me find her. But as the video began to spread, a new clip immediately appeared. It was my response from that day. My daughter and Lin Ryu had together accused me of being a wicked stepmother. The entire neighborhood could testify. The enthusiastic people in the neighborhood had excellent memories. It was clear that Lin Ryu was Sophia's biological mother. I had arranged for someone to record the entire incident beforehand. As a result, public opinion immediately reversed. In my previous life, I was cursed even after death. In this life, everyone stood by my side. Having no further use, my daughter was sold by Lin Ryu to a loan shark. Actually, she hadn't intended to do so, but because of her huge gambling debts, she had to find a way out. Even though I had left the city, I still kept track of their fates. Finally, a good Samaritan, who was none other than me, spent a considerable amount of money to contact Lin Ryu's loan shark. The loan shark was a powerful figure in the criminal underworld. He threatened to cut off her hands if she didn't pay. But Lin Ryu had taken out high-interest loans, calculated daily. Even if she mortgaged her entire house, she couldn't pay off the debt. A few days later, my daughter's body was discarded in a trash can. Lin Ryu was still at the casino, dreaming of turning her life around, when the police raided and arrested her. She was investigated on charges of murdering her daughter. As for my former mother-in-law, because she suffered a stroke and was paralyzed, no one paid attention to her until her body was found, decomposed and smelling. The murderer was imprisoned. I had immigrated and started a new life. As for Oh Shen, the man he was infatuated with also ran out of money exactly 1 month later and fled. He even took Oh Shen's passport and ID, turning him into a nameless vagrant in a foreign land. Without money, Oh Shen wandered the streets, living off charity meals. Once, I went to the embassy to handle some paperwork. Passing a street, I saw a gaunt man with a strange, blank expression. He looked very familiar. I asked the driver, "Who is that person?" The driver casually replied, "This area is full of addicts. They're all wasted and ruined from drugs." I didn't hesitate to tell the driver to turn the car around immediately and take a different route. From then on, I never saw Oh Shen again. Perhaps he died silently in some corner, unknown and uncared for.